I'm Marco Zaffino, and I work in Huddersfield. I make films, paint, I write books, take a lot of photography, fashion photography, art photography, sort of stuff. I almost feel like they just kind of inform each other. It's like, say there's a character I made with the help of who I was photographing, and she's like this sort of cross-cultural samurai warrior geisha, and she's ended up going from like this dress-up box experiment in photography. She's ended up being like the main character of a series of novels I'm writing. Once I got into the novel writing, then I don't know if you can see it, but I've done a series of bigger photographs, more ensembles, that came then from the idea of the novel. So I think they all kind of inform each other, and they also help the way my brain works. I think so. I think the way I tell stories, it always has to. I go off at tangents quite heavily, and sometimes I think it's a good thing, and it makes my work very me. And other times I do have to temper it a bit and try and think of who I'm writing for, you know, and hoping that people can understand what I'm on about, and I'm not just sort of veering off all the time. I think that's Kino's last year, where then I broke all that up into its scenes, then put that onto a page so you could click on small sections of the film, and then I added background stories, and then those are just on YouTube, so you might come across like a murder or a recce for the director in the film, who's the bad guy pretty much. And so I really like that these things are just on YouTube, in little segments that someone might come across, but then you can go to the feature and watch it for free as well. It is it's my other life. The family are totally part of it, you know, like the kids are involved, you know, they've acted in some of the latest stuff. They're really interested in taking up the camera, making their own projects. Becky's like my wife, who is an amazing painter. She understands how my brain needs to make all the time. There's no difference, it's just how the day goes is I work, I go to town, do some writing, come back, do some homemade with Finn, which can involve some of the arts. You know, it's just been years and years of it being the same thing, and because it's not paid, it's my own choice, so it's thoroughly my life, you know, so it thoroughly affects it in a good way, I hope. Because I've sort of turned down things that could have earned quite a lot of money in the past, because it wasn't free, you know, it didn't feel free enough for me to spend time away from my kids for this thing. A lot of the stuff that's paid I wouldn't be proud of, you know, I don't feel proud enough to even show it, even if it's got a big name attached to it or something. Some of my old stuff I'm not going to show off, you know. And it's like, well, if I'm doing work for money and I don't want to show anybody it because it's just a bit bland or, you know, executive led, then I'm in a position, even though I'm not earning, you know, a lot at all, but I can survive, and I'm quite happy with that, as long as I can produce what I want. I think for people who are used to that sort of process of going for funding, making the art through that process, I think it's shocking, because it runs right through the arts for grown-ups, right through to education, where it's non-existent. You know, I don't know what the governments are wanting as a culture. You know, I don't know. They're cutting down on the need for imagination and creativity. However, in the past, like a few years ago, I did go for funding to help with a show, an exhibition, and I didn't get funding because it didn't have, the gallery it was at weren't pushing the marketing. I haven't gone for much funding because I don't like filling in forms and waiting 2 years to make something. But to not get your funding because your marketing's down, this is arts, that your marketing or their marketing wasn't up to scratch, seems to me the wrong reason to be giving money to artists. It drives me really mad that the people with the money think that marketing is the thing that's important. And I wrote back, you know, with some expletives, because from that work and from some of the films, people have gone on to do amazing things, you know. And I think in the old days that used to be part of how you got funding, because if people have, you know, people have gone to work for Cinecittà in Rome, doing amazing stuff in the theatre, and I don't say that they did it because of me, but and my work, but they were involved in it, and it helped, you know, on the tracks for CVs and stuff like that. But people have really moved on, you know, to do some amazing things, and things that were in kind. People had, you know, for one of my films it was about £500,000 in kind, which again used to be important, whereas it's the marketing and getting the money back to the council afterwards. It's just so topsy-turvy. I've got like 3 novels on the go at the minute, a no-budget film that I'm writing, which should start being made hopefully next year, and then a novel I wrote is being read by someone in Canada / Hollywood, who is really interested in making it as a more cinema-going film. He seems a really cool guy to be making it with, because he's worked within the industry, but he also loves the way I make stuff in this sort of truly independent way. Independent is bandied about a bit too easily, you know, because anything that's not in Hollywood's an independent sort of by definition. So he really likes the spirit that stuff's being made while being connected to the world of cinema and festivals and stuff. And he's an amazing creative as well. So that's very possible that it's going to be happening. The Purebred Chihuahua novel might be being made. When that's going to happen, I don't know. So it's kind of one of the reasons I started writing a new film, because I slowed down because of the kids, so that I wasn't Mr. Filmmaker, because it's so intense. But I thought I needed to sort of get back into filmmaking. And the one I'm writing now is called Saints, and it's sort of Huddersfield, Australia based. It's quite exciting. I think I'm going to be like directing over Skype and connecting with some of the really lovely people that do photography with Prowl magazine, a counterculture magazine, with Lisa Lux, and she's sort of introduced me to some really cool people through the magazine, and then that's connected me with with us Sydney, and so it's just amazing that, you know, from this dining room studio there's like art connection with Sydney, from one of my earlier films. There's possibly a film or 2 going to be made in Rome in the future. There's 2 films written for Rome with someone who used to work with me. I think those will be budgeted. So much. There's so much to do. And I think it's going to happen as well, because money's not the object. Even if money doesn't come, there's a track history of it being made. You know, there's nothing to stop anyone now making anything.